No quarter, no mercy for our enemies.
Taking care of business, we're going to be out of there soon, and gas prices are going to come back down.
And I think the president always prefers diplomacy.
Same administration, same war, three completely different stories. One says no mercy. One says we'll be out soon. One says the president wants diplomacy. So who is lying? Or more importantly, who is positioning? Stay with me. By the end of this video, you will know who pushed this war, who profits from it, and what it has to do with who runs America in 2028. Nobody's connecting all three of those dots. Let's go. In 2024, Trump and Vance ran on one promise. We are going to stop sending our young people to the four corners of the world. Millions voted for that. 2026 American jets are hitting Iran. The Pentagon is praying over troops and calling it holy mission. So what happened? According to France 5 and the New York Times, Trump's own chief of staff, his secretary of state, and his vice president were all privately doubtful about this war before it started. Three of the most powerful people in America not fully on board. But the war happened anyway. There is an African proverb: when the music changes, so does the dance. The music changed. The question is, who changed it? Let me introduce you to someone missing from most coverage of this war. Senator Lindsey Graham. He's not a general, he's not in the cabinet, but according to multiple reports, the man who spent months pushing Trump towards military action on Iran's nuclear program. And that's long before the first bomb fell. According to Iran International, Graham said there is no point in negotiating with Iran. He urged Trump to help Israel deliver, in his words, knockout blow. According to Yahoo News, he called diplomacy a 1 in a trillion chance of working. 1 in a trillion. So for Graham, war was never the last resort. It was the plan. And here is the part that confirms it. The Wall Street Journal reported, and the Times of Israel covered it, that before the strikes began, Trump had already approved plans to hit Iran. He wasn't undecided. The plans were signed. He was just watching to see if Iran would back down first. So the question was never whether Trump will strike. It was who convinced him to stop waiting. Netanyahu from Israel, Graham from the Senate, and inside the Pentagon, a man we are about to meet, who was already calling his department the Department of War. Three voices, same direction, and the president who had already said yes. And here is the part that doesn't make it into the evening news very often. When there is no war, certain industries don't make money. The defense sector, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, these are multi-billion-dollar companies. Their share prices move with conflict, their contracts expand in wartime, and their lobbyists are permanently active in Washington. Now, I want to be careful here. I'm not making a direct accusation, but I want you to look at the timeline. According to the Financial Times, and this was reported by Breitbart and picked up widely, a broker connected to Hegseth reportedly approached BlackRock in February 2026 about making $1 million investment in a defense ETF, an ETF that holds Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman. Now, the Pentagon denied this, but the timing, the approach, happening in weeks just before the Iran strikes, raised enough questions that the Financial Times published the story. I'm not saying Hegseth knew war was coming and positioned himself financially. What I'm saying is that in Washington, the line between those who push for war and those who profit from war has often been very thin, and the questions are worth asking. Now, with that context in your head, let me show you the three men inside Trump's administration who are each playing a completely different game with this war. Because the picture looks very different once you know who helped start it. Now, three men, each playing a completely different game. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. First, Hegseth, a former Fox News host, former soldier, he turned the Pentagon into a content creation studio, filming himself working out with troops, praying over them on camera. And when Iran came up, he came out swinging. No one puts us in danger. We put others in danger. The only ones who should worry are the Iranians who think they can stay alive.
We will keep pushing, keep advancing, no quarter, no mercy for our enemies.
Now, according to Axios, link in the description, legal scholars immediately flagged this. No quarter comes from the laws of war. It means take no prisoners. Under the Geneva Conventions, that edges towards a war crime. And remember, this is the same man whose broker was reportedly approaching defense investment funds weeks before the strikes began. Now let's go to Marco Rubio. He was a Trump opponent. In 2016, he called Trump dangerous, then became the Secretary General of State. You don't make that journey by accident. That's a survival skill. Now, watch what he does while Hegseth is screaming, "No mercy." Rubio tells Al Jazeera in an exclusive interview.
And I think the president always prefers diplomacy, always prefers an outcome. And we could have done this before.
The man overseeing American foreign policy is telling the world his boss don't really want this war. You see, this is a very specific message sent to a very specific audience for a very specific reason. And there is JD Vance. If Hegseth is the loudmouth and Rubio is the diplomat, Vance is the chess player. When journalists ask him directly whether he supports the Iran operation, here's what he says. I'm not going to repeat what I said behind closed doors. The president should be able to speak with his advisors privately. He didn't say yes, he didn't say no. So by saying this, he basically said, I know something and I'm choosing not to tell you. That right there is a masterclass in strategic ambiguity, according to CNN News 18. Citing Axios, Vance reportedly told Netanyahu directly that the US had been given an overly optimistic picture of the war. He told Netanyahu, "You oversold this to us," and he made sure people knew he said it. Now, quiz time. Quick question for these three. Hegseth, Rubio, Vance. Who do you think is still in power a year from now? And keep that answer because it might change before this video ends. Now, let's go back to the video, and this is the surprising part. According to the reports discussed on France 5, and I'm attributing this to their sourcing, Trump may be conducting secret negotiations with senior Iranian officials, not back channels, senior figures, including reportedly the Speaker of Iran's parliament. And all that without informing Netanyahu, the man who reportedly convinced Trump to launch this war, may not even know Trump is already trying to end it. Now sit with that for a second. Graham is pushing for nothing left standing. Netanyahu sold Trump on the strike. And now Trump is quietly negotiating behind Netanyahu's back. It's almost poetic. France 5's analysts describe what's actually happening as a deliberate division of roles. Hegseth is the wartime face, keeps the base excited. Rubio is the statesman's face, reassures Western allies. Vance is the exit ramp, ready to offer a way out when Trump needs it. 3 rules, 3 audiences, 1 president, who, quoting the analyst directly, has no emotional attachment except to himself. That line matters because it tells you what happens when any of these men become inconvenient. Trump fired his Homeland Security Secretary in minutes for going on TV without permission. Minutes. So if Hegseth no quarter language ever lands in front of an international court, watch how quickly Trump says he acted alone. So is Trump running 3 strategies at once on purpose? Hegseth screaming no mercy keeps pressure on Iran. Rubio whispering we prefer democracy keeps Gulf states and Europe from abandoning ship. Vance staying quiet keeps his 2028 record clean. It's messy, but it might be intentional. And while all that plays out, the defense industry watches, waits, and invoices. Now, here is the layer I haven't seen mainstream media connect clearly. This Iran war is the opening act of the 2028 American succession battle. Trump cannot run in 2028. He served his 2 terms. So every power player in Washington, even while bombs fall on Tehran, is already calculating who is the next version of Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene said it herself. Very high-ranking people in the administration do not support what is happening at all. The longer it lasts, the more it will hurt J.D. Vance. Vance's entire brand is built on no more foreign wars. Now there is war. If he opposes it, he looks disloyal. If he owns it loudly, he contradicts everything he ran on. So he does neither. Stays quiet, emphasizes gas prices at home, leaks just enough to build an "I want you" record. That's not weakness, that's chess. Rubio has a different problem. He's on record calling Trump unfit in 2016. The MAGA base hasn't forgotten, so he has to be indispensable, fly to Europe, brief Congress, own the back channels, be the architecture of whatever deal ends this war. If diplomacy wins, Rubio will make sure the world knows it was his phone call. He's not just Secretary of State. He's writing his 2028 campaign biography in real time. And Hegseth, France 5 analyst, said it politely. I'll say it plainly. He's a media personality in a cabinet job. No political career outside Trump's orbit. The loudest voice and the most expendable. Meanwhile, Graham, who pushed hardest for this war, faces no election consequences. He's not on the ballot in 2028. He just needs the war to happen. The Iran war is being fought on 2 fronts, one in Washington, one in the Persian Gulf, and the one in Washington will outlast the one in Iran. What does a power struggle in Washington have to do with us? More than you might think. According to Bloomberg, the disruption around the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of global oil supply passes, has already pushed energy prices up. For those African economies that import fuel, that shock hits supply chains, inflation, and household costs. The IMF and World Bank have documented this pattern across every major Middle East escalation since the 1970s. We pay the price of wars we had no vote on. But there is a deeper layer. Iran is now a BRICS Plus member. The same bloc several African nations are actively deepening ties with. When America attacks a BRICS Plus member, it forces a question every African government has to answer privately, even if they won't say publicly. Can you partner with a power that can attack your other partners? And can you trust a power whose inner circle is visibly split on whether the war it started was even a good idea? Now, here is another important question. If the defense industry profits from this and African nations buy weapons from those same companies, where does that money ultimately go? Who is arming us, and what do they want in return? Now, these are uncomfortable questions, but they are the right ones to be asking. So there are 4 things for us to watch. 1. The moment Trump or Rubio publicly walks back. Hegseth, no quarter language. That's the signal Hegseth is being set up as the fall guy. 2. The moment Rubio stops saying back channels and starts saying deal. That's him claiming his 2028 chapter. 3. The moment Vance starts speaking to working class American audiences about bringing their kids home. That's his campaign announcement, even if he never calls it that. 4. And this is the one nobody talks about. Watch what happens to Raytheon, Lockheed, and Northrop stocks prices the day a ceasefire is announced. Because that number will tell you more about who really wanted this war than any press conference ever will. Now, there is an African saying, until the lions have their own historians, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. We are watching the hunters fight over who gets credit. Our job is to understand the game well enough to play it on our own terms. So, one question before you go. Do you think Trump cuts a deal with Iran in the next 90 days? And if he does Vance or Rubio benefit more? This is the Strategic Lens. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.